For countless millennia, the Galactic Empire had reigned supreme over the stars. This vast civilization, spanning millions of solar systems and billions of inhabitants, had long observed the relatively young and primitive species known as humans. From their distant outposts, the Galactic Council had monitored humanity's slow but steady progress across the cosmos. They had seen the humans' remarkable technological advancements, their insatiable curiosity, and their growing ambition to explore the unknown. And with each passing year, the Galactic Council grew increasingly concerned. The Galactic Empire was no stranger to the perils of interstellar expansion. They had encountered countless civilizations, some of which had posed grave threats to the delicate balance of power. The humans, with their rapidly evolving capabilities and their tendency towards conflict, were a cause for great alarm. After much deliberation, the Galactic Council made a decision. They would issue a stern warning to the humans, a last-ditch effort to prevent a potentially disastrous confrontation. The message was delivered through diplomatic channels, transmitted to the various governments of Earth in a language they could understand. The words were unequivocal, the tone unwavering. Stay away from the planet Earth. It is under the protection of the Galactic Empire, and any incursion will be met with annihilation. The reaction on Earth was, perhaps predictably, one of skepticism and defiance. The leaders of the world's nations, accustomed to the trappings of power and the belief in their own sovereignty, dismissed the Galactic Empire's claims as nothing more than the posturing of a distant and arrogant civilization. Who do they think they are, telling us what we can and cannot do? Raged the President of the United States, his face flushed with indignation. Earth belongs to us, and we will not be cowed by the threats of some self-proclaimed Galactic Empire. Similar sentiments echoed across the globe, as national pride and a sense of human exceptionalism trumped any concerns about the consequences of defying the Galactic Empire's warning. In the corridors of power, plans were set in motion to accelerate humanity's space exploration programs. Funding was diverted, research was fast-tracked, and a renewed sense of purpose gripped the scientific community. The goal was clear: to make contact with the Galactic Empire, to assert humanity's independence, and to claim their rightful place among the stars. Unbeknownst to the humans, the Galactic Council watched these developments with growing unease. They had hoped that the warning would be heeded, that the humans would recognize the futility of their ambitions and retreat to the safety of their home planet. But now, it seemed, the humans were determined to challenge the Galactic Empire's authority, heedless of the peril that awaited them. The Galactic Council convened once more, their discussions tinged with a sense of foreboding. They had tried diplomacy, but the humans had proven to be stubborn and unyielding. Now, they feared, the only recourse left was to prepare for the inevitable confrontation. As the ships of the Galactic Empire's vast armada began to assume their positions around the planet Earth, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The Galactic Empire's warning had been clear, and the humans had chosen to ignore it. The stage was set for a momentous clash, one that would determine the future of both civilizations. Earth's space exploration programs had been accelerating at a breakneck pace in the months following the Galactic Empire's stern warning. Governments from around the world poured vast sums of money into the race to reach the stars, fueled by a sense of national pride and a determination to assert humanity's independence. The culmination of these efforts came when Earth's first crewed mission to the edge of the solar system made a startling discovery. As the sleek, state-of-the-art spacecraft pushed deeper into the void, its sensors detected a massive presence in the distance, a fleet of gigantic vessels, their hulls gleaming with an alien technology that put Earth's own spacecraft to shame. Awestruck by the sheer scale and power of these alien ships, the crew of the Earth vessel hesitated, unsure of how to proceed. They had been trained for first contact scenarios, but nothing could have prepared them for the reality of encountering the Galactic Empire's formidable presence. Summoning their courage, the human astronauts initiated a communication sequence, broadcasting a message of peace and a request for dialogue. But as their words echoed through the silent void, the response came swiftly and decisively. Without warning, the Galactic Empire's ships opened fire, unleashing a barrage of devastatingly powerful energy weapons that tore through the Earth vessel's defenses. In a matter of seconds, the once proud spacecraft was reduced to a cloud of debris, its brave crew members vaporized in the merciless onslaught. News of the attack sent shockwaves through the nations of Earth, shattering the fragile hopes of those who had believed that diplomacy and cooperation would be the path forward. The leaders of the world's governments convened in emergency sessions, their faces etched with a mix of fear, anger, and a grim determination to respond to this unprovoked act of aggression. "This is an outrage," thundered the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, his fist slamming against the polished table. "The Galactic Empire has committed an act of war against humanity, and we must not stand idly by." Calls for caution and diplomacy were quickly drowned out by the clamor for retaliation. Across the globe, military forces were put on high alert, their commanders ordered to prepare for a potential conflict with the Galactic Empire. The specter of all-out war hung heavy in the air, as the leaders of Earth struggled to find a way to counter the overwhelming might of their newfound adversary. In the shadows of the Galactic Council chambers, the news of the attack was met with a mixture of resignation and a growing sense of unease. The Galactic Empire's leaders had hoped that the mere threat of force would be enough to deter the humans, but now it seemed that their hand had been forced. The time for diplomacy had passed, and the only path forward was the path of war. As the Galactic Empire's vast fleets began to amass around the planet Earth, the future of humanity hung in the balance. The Galactic Empire had issued its warning, and the humans had chosen to ignore it. Now, they would face the full might of the galaxy's dominant power, and the outcome of the looming confrontation remained uncertain. Despite the pleas of those who advocated for a diplomatic resolution, the leaders of the Galactic Empire remained steadfast in their determination to subjugate the upstart human civilization. In their eyes, the destruction of the Earth's first crewed spacecraft was merely a necessary prelude to the full-scale invasion that was to come. The Galactic Council convened once more, this time to finalize the plans for the impending assault. Vast fleets were mobilized, their hulking warships bristling with advanced weaponry and bristling with the confidence of their seasoned crews. The Galactic Empire's military might was about to be unleashed upon the unsuspecting inhabitants of the small blue planet. As the Galactic Empire's forces amassed around the solar system, the nations of Earth scrambled to mount a defense. Governments poured resources into the hastily assembled military units, pushing the limits of their technological capabilities in a desperate bid to counter the invaders. But the gap between Earth's forces and the Galactic Empire's was simply too vast to overcome. The alien vessels, with their towering structures and devastating firepower, made short work of the human defenses. One by one, the proud warships of Earth were reduced to flaming wrecks, their crews vaporized by the Galactic Empire's relentless barrage. The skies above the planet's major cities echoed with the thunderous roar of orbital bombardments, as the Galactic Empire's warships unleashed devastating salvos of energy weapons upon the unsuspecting populace. Vast swathes of urban landscapes were reduced to smoldering rubble, and the streets were filled with the cries of the injured and the dying. In the face of this overwhelming onslaught, the leaders of Earth's nations realized that their military might was simply no match for the Galactic Empire's superior technology and sheer force of numbers. Desperate pleas for surrender and capitulation were met with uncompromising demands from the invaders. "Surrender your world to the Galactic Empire, or face total annihilation," came the ultimatum, delivered with the cold, calculating detachment of a civilization accustomed to conquest. The leaders of Earth found themselves cornered, their options dwindling with each passing hour. They knew that to defy the Galactic Empire's demands would be to invite the complete and utter destruction of their homeworld. But to submit to the invaders' terms would be to surrender the very essence of their freedom and independence. As the battles raged on, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The Galactic Empire's forces continued their relentless advance, their grip on the planet tightening with each passing day. The world's leaders, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and defiance, struggled to find a way to counter the might of their galactic overlords. The future had never seemed more uncertain, as the long-standing dominance of the Galactic Empire clashed with the stubborn determination of the human race. The outcome of this momentous clash would not only decide the fate of Earth, but the very course of history itself. As the Galactic Empire's invasion forces continued their relentless advance across the planet, the cities of Earth lay in ruins, their once proud inhabitants cowed by the overwhelming might of the alien conquerors. For many, it seemed that all hope was lost, and that humanity's fate had been sealed. Yet, amidst the despair and devastation, a spark of defiance began to flicker to life. From the ashes of the conquered cities, a determined resistance movement began to take shape, brought together by a shared belief that the human spirit would never be broken. These were not the trained soldiers and seasoned commanders of Earth's once formidable military. They were ordinary citizens, scientists, engineers, and civilians who had watched helplessly as their world was torn apart. But they were also people who refused to surrender their freedom without a fight. Led by a charismatic former military officer, the resistance fighters began to organize, drawing upon their intimate knowledge of the planet's terrain and their ingenuity to devise guerrilla tactics that would catch the Galactic Empire's occupying forces off guard. Under the cover of darkness, they launched a series of daring raids, targeting the invaders' supply lines, communication hubs, and command centers. With each successful operation, the resistance gained new recruits, their numbers swelling as the people of Earth joined the fight for their home. The Galactic Empire, accustomed to the swift and decisive victories that had characterized their conquest of countless other civilizations, found themselves struggling to maintain control of the planet. The relentless attacks by the human resistance fighters disrupted their operations, sowing confusion and frustration among the ranks of the invading forces. In the council chambers of the Galactic Empire, the leaders watched with growing unease as the situation on Earth continued to deteriorate. They had expected the humans to capitulate in the face of their superior might. But instead, the resistance was proving to be a formidable opponent, one that refused to be cowed by the threat of annihilation. "This is not the outcome we anticipated," murmured the Grand Admiral, his brow furrowed with concern. "The humans are proving to be more resilient than we had imagined. We may need to reconsider our approach." As the Galactic Empire's forces were forced to divert more and more resources to quelling the resistance, the tide of the battle began to shift. The once overwhelming advantage of the invaders was slowly being eroded, as the ingenuity and determination of the human fighters proved to be a force that could not be easily broken. The future of the Galactic Empire's conquest of Earth hung in the balance, as the resistance continued to grow in strength and organization. The stakes had never been higher, and the outcome of this struggle would not only determine the fate of humanity, but the very course of galactic history. As the resistance fighters continued to harass and disrupt the Galactic Empire's occupation forces, it became increasingly clear that their conventional military tactics would not be enough to achieve a decisive victory. The invaders' superior firepower and advanced technology gave them an overwhelming advantage, one that threatened to crush the spirit of the human resistance once and for all. In the dimly lit command centers of the resistance, the leaders huddled together, their brows furrowed in deep concentration. They knew that the only way to level the playing field against the Galactic Empire was to acquire advanced technology that could give them an edge in the conflict. The breakthrough came during a daring raid on a Galactic Empire research facility, where the resistance fighters managed to seize a treasure trove of highly classified information and experimental equipment. Among the captured items were powerful energy weapons, anti-gravity devices, and even the blueprints for a prototype interstellar spacecraft. With this newfound technological advantage, the resistance fighters set to work, drawing upon the expertise of their scientific and engineering teams to reverse engineer the alien technology and adapt it for their own use. The pace of their efforts intensified with each passing day, as they raced against time to develop the tools that could turn the tide of the war. The Galactic Empire, sensing the threat posed by the Resistance's technological advancements, responded with a massive push of their own. They poured vast resources into the development of even more advanced weapons and defensive systems, determined to maintain their technological superiority over the stubborn human insurgents. The race for advanced technology had begun, and both sides were driven by a desperate need to gain the upper hand. For the Resistance, it was a matter of survival. A chance to level the playing field and strike back at the invaders with the same devastating force that had reduced their cities to rubble. For the Galactic Empire, the stakes were just as high. They could not afford to lose their grip on the planet, for the ramifications of such a defeat would echo throughout the galaxy. Their very way of life, their dominance over the stars, hung in the balance. As the weeks turned into months, the Resistance fighters worked tirelessly, driven by a renewed sense of purpose and the knowledge that the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. The Galactic Empire, too, committed all of their considerable resources to the development of ever more powerful technologies, determined to crush the human resistance once and for all. The stage was set for a titanic clash, a technological showdown that would determine the outcome of the war. Both sides poured their best and brightest minds into the effort, each driven by the desperate need to secure a decisive advantage over their adversary. The future of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance as the race for advanced technology reached a fever pitch. The Resistance, fueled by their determination to liberate their homeworld, fought with a fervor that the Galactic Empire had never encountered before. And the Galactic Empire, faced with the prospect of a humiliating defeat, fought with a ferocity born of desperation. The battle lines had been drawn, and the stakes had never been higher. The outcome of this technological showdown would shape the course of history, and the fate of both civilizations rested on the results. The fruits of the Resistance's labors had finally ripened, and the time had come to put their newly acquired technological advantages to the test. Bolstered by the powerful energy weapons, advanced spacecraft, and other cutting-edge alien technologies they had captured and reverse-engineered, the Resistance fighters prepared to launch a massive counterattack against the Galactic Empire's occupying forces. The plan was bold and ambitious, a daring gambit that would test the limits of the Resistance's capabilities. They would strike at the Galactic Empire's most critical strategic targets, crippling their supply lines, communication networks, and command centers in a coordinated series of lightning-fast strikes. As the Resistance fighters took to the skies in their sleek, alien-built spacecraft, the Galactic Empire's troops on the ground braced for the onslaught. They had grown accustomed to the hit-and-run tactics of the human insurgents, but nothing could have prepared them for the sheer ferocity of the Resistance's counteroffensive. The energy weapons wielded by the Resistance fighters tore through the Galactic Empire's armored vehicles and fortified positions with devastating efficiency, rendering their superior numbers and firepower largely irrelevant. The invaders' communication hubs were systematically disabled, sowing confusion and chaos throughout their ranks, while their supply lines were severed, leaving them cut off from vital resources and reinforcements. In the skies above, the Resistance's advanced spacecraft proved to be a match for the Galactic Empire's best and most heavily armed warships. The human pilots, emboldened by their newfound technological edge, engaged their alien adversaries with a skill and tenacity that shattered the invaders' confidence. The tide of the war had turned, and the Galactic Empire found itself struggling to maintain its grip on the planet. Their occupying forces were being pushed back, their once formidable might gradually eroded by the relentless onslaught of the Resistance. But the Galactic Empire was not about to concede defeat so easily. Sensing the growing threat posed by the Resistance's technological prowess, they mobilized their most elite forces, dispatching their most experienced and skilled warriors to Earth to crush the human insurgency once and for all. The stage was set for a climactic showdown, a decisive battle that would determine the fate of humanity and the outcome of the entire war. The Galactic Empire's best and brightest were poised to confront the Resistance's most formidable champions, each side driven by a burning determination to emerge victorious. As the forces of the Galactic Empire and the human resistance maneuvered for position, the fate of Earth hung in the balance. The future of both civilizations would be decided by the outcome of this momentous clash, a conflict that would echo through the halls of history for generations to come. The skies above the battered cities of Earth were alight with the fierce clashes between the Resistance's advanced spacecraft and the Galactic Empire's elite warships. The air crackled with the thunderous roar of energy weapons as the two sides engaged in a desperate struggle for supremacy. On the ground, the Resistance's ground forces, now equipped with the captured alien technologies, fought a brutal street-by-street battle against the Galactic Empire's occupying troops. The fighting was fierce and relentless, with both sides unleashing the full extent of their military might in a desperate attempt to gain the upper hand. As the battles raged on, the Resistance's leaders found themselves faced with a grim realization. Even with their newfound technological advantages, they may not be able to overcome the sheer numerical superiority of the Galactic Empire's forces. The invaders seemed to have an endless supply of reinforcements, and their seasoned warriors fought with a ferocity that the human insurgents struggled to match. Sensing the growing desperation of the Resistance, the Galactic Empire's commanders redoubled their efforts, pouring more and more resources into the defense of their conquered territory. They could not afford to lose this battle, for the ramifications of such a defeat would be catastrophic, not just for the Galactic Empire's hold on Earth, but for the very foundations of their interstellar dominance. As the fighting intensified, the Resistance's leaders huddled together, their faces etched with the weight of the impossible decision they now faced. They knew that they could not simply wait and be overwhelmed by the sheer might of the Galactic Empire's onslaught. Something had to be done, even if it meant taking a tremendous risk. In the end, they hatched a bold and daring plan, a plan that would strike at the very heart of the Galactic Empire's invasion force. They would assemble their most skilled and experienced fighters, equipping them with the most advanced weapons and spacecraft available, and send them on a mission to infiltrate the command vessels that coordinated the enemy's operations. It was a desperate gambit, one that carried with it the promise of either ultimate victory or complete annihilation. But the Resistance's leaders knew that they had no other choice. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and they were determined to do whatever it took to secure their freedom. As the elite strike team prepared to embark on their perilous mission, the rest of the Resistance forces redoubled their efforts, launching a series of ferocious counterattacks to draw the Galactic Empire's attention away from their comrades' daring infiltration. The battle that ensued was a clash of titanic proportions, with both sides refusing to yield an inch. The skies above Earth were a maelstrom of flashing energy beams and the thunderous roar of exploding spacecraft as the Resistance and the Galactic Empire's elite forces engaged in a desperate struggle for supremacy. Amidst the chaos, the Resistance's strike team made their move, slipping past the Galactic Empire's defenses and infiltrating the command vessels at the heart of the invasion force. The fate of humanity hung in the balance as they launched their assault, determined to disable the enemy's command and control systems and create an opportunity for a decisive counterattack. The Resistance's elite strike team, armed with the most advanced technologies they had captured from the Galactic Empire, embarked on their perilous mission with a renewed sense of determination. Their objective was clear: to infiltrate the command vessels at the heart of the invaders' operations and disable the systems that coordinated the Galactic Empire's forces. As they slipped past the Galactic Empire's defenses and made their way towards their target, the rest of the Resistance forces continued their relentless assault, launching a series of devastating attacks to draw the enemy's attention away from their comrades' daring infiltration. The battles that raged across the skies and streets of Earth were a sight to behold, as the Resistance's advanced weaponry and spacecraft clashed with the Galactic Empire's elite warriors and warships in a display of raw power and unbridled fury. Within the command vessels, the Resistance's strike team encountered the Galactic Empire's most skilled and experienced fighters, who were determined to defend their leaders and the vital systems they controlled. The fighting was fierce and uncompromising, with both sides refusing to give an inch. But the Resistance's team had been meticulously trained, and their mastery of the captured alien technologies gave them a crucial edge. One by one, they systematically disabled the Galactic Empire's command and control systems, sowing chaos and confusion throughout the invaders' ranks. As the news of the strike team's success reached the battle-scarred streets below, the Resistance fighters redoubled their efforts, launching a final, all-out assault on the Galactic Empire's remaining forces. Emboldened by the knowledge that their comrades had struck at the heart of the enemy's operations, they fought with a ferocity that the invaders had not seen before. The Galactic Empire's seasoned warriors, caught off guard by the Resistance's sudden and decisive counterattack, found themselves struggling to maintain their grip on the planet. Their once formidable might was being steadily eroded, their carefully laid plans unraveling before their very eyes. In the skies above, the Resistance's advanced spacecraft darted and weaved, unleashing devastating barrages of energy weapons that tore through the Galactic Empire's warships. The invaders, unable to coordinate their defenses, were overwhelmed by the sheer tenacity and skill of the human pilots. The battle raged on, with both sides refusing to back down, each driven by an unyielding determination to emerge victorious. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance as the forces of the Galactic Empire and the human Resistance clashed in a titanic struggle that would echo through the annals of history. As the smoke cleared and the dust settled, it became clear that the Resistance had prevailed. The Galactic Empire's invasion force, decimated by the combined might of the human insurgents and the disabling of their command systems, had been driven from the planet. For the people of Earth, the victory was a moment of profound relief and unbridled joy. They had faced the might of the Galactic Empire and triumphed, proving that the human spirit could not be broken, no matter the odds. But as the cheers of celebration faded, a new and equally daunting challenge emerged. The Galactic Empire, having suffered a humiliating defeat, would not accept this setback lightly. They would undoubtedly seek to exact their revenge, and the Resistance would need to be ever vigilant to protect their hard-won freedom. Yet for the moment, the people of Earth reveled in their victory, knowing that they had proven their worth to the stars. They had defied the Galactic Empire's warning, and in doing so, had forged a path towards a future of their own making, a future that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come.